It's me, DjDoubleT, here and existing with our regularly scheduled program of Wednesday, where I play games that I feel like playing that I haven't played before, and we're continuing with our series of Hard to Make a Romantic Cartoon. I believe currently we're on episode 3 of the game, and I don't know if I'm ready.
무슨 생각을 했냐고?
Right, always gotta configure this in
당연히
English,
네 생각이지.
because they always put in Korean instantaneously. Like, cool. Now what are you saying?
하나도 아프지 않아. 아, 정말인데.
Jinha, I think that your face is hurt. Oh, it's a love meter. Oh, then you get GIF. There. Wait. Are you jelly because it's you? Wait, are these actually the two male leads? Oh snap. Whoops. Alright. Let's start episode 3, because that's what we're supposed to go and dive through. Peaceful times were over yesterday. It was lunchtime in the cafeteria. Jihoon was sitting there with one leg stretched out. His intentions are way too obvious. How can people not notice that? Maybe I should step on his foot. I should ignore him. I'm gonna step on his foot. You know what? I may be weak, I may be meek, but I will do something. I'm gonna step on his foot. Or should I follow his intentions and trip and fall to the ground? Kimchi slap I once saw in a trashy TV show came to my mind. I'll pretend to trip and fall and then adjust my angle. No, the meals provided here are too delicious to do that. The gang Hyun of Kangsung group attends Kangsung High School. The school nutritionists must have poured their heart and soul into preparing the menu. I thought I should take a step back this time. Thank the school nutritionist, you're alive, Jihoon. I snorted and looked for a different place to sit. There's no place to sit. But then I found a place that was quiet, unlike the other tables. Hyun and his friends. Hyun had amazing presence. He distanced himself from the others as if there was an invisible barrier. It seemed like Hyun took that situation for granted. I'm supposed to be friends with him if I want to build a connection between him and Uhhh, right? Jinha was an angel. Hyun's barriers were much, much higher. But so what? I had no other choice. I approached him carefully. I approached him with confident strides. You know what? Let's be confident. I put my food tray down so that I was facing Hyun. May I sit here? I wasn't waiting for an answer. In fact, I sat down quickly before anyone could say no. Hyun was eating calmly, ignoring all the noise and tension around him. He stopped his actions and was now staring at me. You won't tell me to leave, right? I didn't thank you last time about after you helped me in the teacher's room. It was nothing. But still, I wanted to thank you by having something to eat together someday. Hyun's friends were surprised by my excuse. There would have been multiple question marks if this were a scene in a comic. If that's what you want to do, shouldn't the food be on you? You're calling it even with a school meal? I don't have enough money to satisfy you. Ah! Well, thank you, the Burrito Supreme, for following. Hyun let out a laugh, as if he found the situation funny. I don't eat stuff like lobster every day. It's sad to hear you say something like that. Then, how about tteokbokki? The typical middle-class food? After you blacked out, I took you to the nurse's office all by myself. I hate that you're trying to call it even by offering tteokbokki. Hey, I would call that even. That's a good snack. Hyun let out a sigh and shook his head. I was shocked by his sudden criticism. There's nothing wrong with tteokbokki. Let me eat. I'm already skinty enough as it is. Do-young powder was cute. Chao Do-young. My first impression of him was that he was clever enough to say his piece in an unreasonable situation. But he also showed his weak side by collapsing to the ground. I don't really like him being weak and sick. His small head that leaned on my shoulder. his slender neck that looked like it would break at any moment. I couldn't figure out why he kept stealing my attention, why I keep looking at him the way I do. He's not discouraged at all, even though he has a weak body and gets beaten up. Well, maybe that matches my taste. Besides, him being weak kinda lovely. I liked his intense, strong, and persistent attitude. What different aspect of you will you show me next time? He was something else every time I saw him. Even today, he came up here bravely and took a seat. Hi, Burrito Supreme. His facial expression changed whenever I said a few words, just like a child's would. Though he was quite cute. Cute to the point where I wanted to keep teasing him. Aw. You just criticized my favorite menu! Would you ever be satisfied with my recommendations? I'm sad that you're not even trying. Huh? What? What, was he originally like this? He's so full of himself. Hyun shrugged his shoulders with a straight face. I clenched my fist, feeling like he was getting a bit annoying. Hyun smirked at me with a sardonic grin. Having lunch with Hyun brought great consequences. All I could remember was being teased a lot, but, I guess it looked different to the others. Everyone was walking on eggshells around me. Sang-woo and his gang dared not to show up. Hyun really is something, huh? My troubles were gone, but then came other problems. Oh, that's actually to hide things. There were those that sneaked up to me and asked my secret to getting close to Hyun. We're not close. We're not close. No, not close. I was telling them the truth, but no one listened to me. They looked at me as if I was some guy monopolizing all the delicious food. I wasn't really in a good mood as the same thing kept happening. Yeah, so, Emma made this. So the statements in the parentheses are their thoughts. Is something giving out extra editions? News sure did travel fast. It was obvious that people who felt guilty were eager to be nice to me. And this time, it was my teacher's turn. I have school these days. Didn't know you could be so kind when you speak. I didn't voice my thoughts, but I guess they were written all over my face. He looked embarrassed. He's still not thinking about the victim. I know they're complicated adult matters, but I'm upset. Honestly, the adults suck in this story universe. They suck. I know there are complicated adult matters, but I'm upset. Oh, yeah, well, I could tell my teacher was flustered by my half-hearted answer. Very funny. Was he expecting me to feel touched or what? I looked out the window, and as he went on talking, Hyun, is this why you don't like school that much? The whole school turned all topsy-turvy at the name Gang Hyun, and I could understand the boredom Hyun might have felt. I also felt empty. All I did was have lunch with the air of a well-off family, and suddenly, my school life turned around. What have I been struggling for? I thought it was a perfect plan to gather evidence and make it public, feeling proud of myself, and I was ready to burn everything to the ground. Won't this all be over if I just target Hyun? It was embarrassing and painful to think of stuff like this. Hyun isn't an easy person in the first place. When I met Hyun in person, his smile made my blood run cold. It felt as if he would command me to show him my charms. He didn't hesitate to pick and twist my words around and rebuke them. Hyun wasn't going to help me. I tried to remember what Hyun was like in the original story. If I help you, what will you give me in return? Hyun's approach was to give and take. What he got from Do-hee was Do-hee herself. But there's nothing Hyun could want from me. I didn't breathe a word. There's no way I'd get caught in the crossfire, right? In that case, this brief time of peace was worse than nothing. If Hyun's involved, I'm definitely out. Let's not overdo it. I know lots of people got screwed up after getting on Hyun's nerves. A little bit. Honestly, whenever I play dating sims or like whenever there's like a romance anime, I'm like red flags. So, um, Emma, do you know what the story's about at all? Or would you like me to explain a little bit of it? Because currently, so I play as Dohee, and Dohee is a character who, in the original story of this webtoon slash visual novel, dies, and your twin sister Do Yeon, I believe, I forgot her name, but or Dohee, I get them mixed up, but she basically goes into, yeah, I can always do it. Don't worry about it. So she goes in and acts as you, like she dresses as you because you guys look so similar. And then she gets like one of the male leads. But this game, you are a reader who's transported into the body of the twin brother who passes away. And things become gay. In short, it becomes gay. And yeah, that's kind of how we got so far. And we go through the bullying scene, we see things are getting changed that aren't in the original story. And what your character has been trying to do this whole time has been trying to get the male leads to protect your sister and keep her happy after you pass. He said there's nothing going on between them. They literally look like lovebirds together, and yet you still believe that. He's so stubborn about issues related to Do Young. But isn't Do Young acting a bit weird these days? Listen, I asked him to get some snacks for me, and he didn't return, though he said he would. I caught him wandering around, and he told me he didn't have any money. I said I'd punch him once for each penny I'd find in his pocket. Then he just said, go on, and opened his arms. So, what do you say? Okay, fine. You idiot. It's obvious he's got mesmerized by a beautiful face. I mean, I know what I did was wrong. But my point is that he's acting like a freak. Well, seems like the pretty little freak got to you. If you're looking for a person to vent your anger on, I'll look for someone else. No need to do that. Sangwoo. It has to be Do Young. Hey. Just keep an eye on things. The gossip of me having lunch with Hyun went on for 3 days. It sure lasted long, even though it was only that one time. Hyun didn't bother looking for me, and I didn't look for him either. Since nothing else happened, things went back to their original state. And of course, there were those who tried to make my life even more miserable than before. Sorry, I haven't given you much attention. You must have been upset. I guess not being able to bully me felt like torture. Jihoon came and dragged me to the incineration. Or, not incineration, incinerator. Imagine, like, oh yeah, let's amplify the bully into, let's just throw you into fire. That's what we're doing, right? Let's just burn. He was by himself unlike before when he was with Sangwoo and his group. Nonsense. Why are you looking at me like that? What? No. Yeah, so Weirdo Young. So Weirdo Young, anything in the parentheses, usually in white, is the main character Do Young's thoughts. Anything in other colors are usually like somebody else. Like, they'll match the color of their name. Jihyun kicked me in the back. caught off guard. I fell and hurt my hands and knees. Ugh. I couldn't even get a glimpse of this jerk when Hyun's name was being mentioned. It was revolting. He was definitely doing this because he thought I had nothing to do with Hyun. You're dead meat. I'll have to keep an eye on the situation. You know what? Let's play this coy. I'll have to keep an eye on the situation. It'll be my last resort. Although sometimes it doesn't change into their color. What are you staring at? I didn't look down even though he threatened me. Everyone's telling me you've become a freak. They were right. You've gone crazy enough to let yourself get beaten up, huh? He didn't need to hold back since there was no one to stop him. Jin slapped me on the cheek with all his might. And so this is the blue. This is Hyun's thoughts now. Coincidentally, the student council room was right above the incinerator. I looked down and saw Do-young getting hit. What are you looking at? Huh? It's him. Shouldn't you be helping him? I didn't answer the question. I've heard you talk. You're close to him, are you not? You said so, that we're close? No, it wasn't that. I also heard people backbite him. Rumor has it that he's, actually just playing hard to get? Is that so? People were always clingy with me whenever I gave in an inch. But this time, it seemed like that wasn't the case. What should I do? Should I help him or not? While deep in thought, I heard someone scream blue murder. Alright, so this is definitely my... See, I think also there's a flaw of, like, coloring. You're right. I am a freak. You're gonna be in dead trouble now. And then came a terrible cry that shook the entire school building. Ah, you crazy freak. Looking down, Jungmin's eyes opened wide. It really was something. Do-young was biting Jihoon's hand. Looks like, just like a fierce little kitten. No, I think he looks like a wild predator. What? The kitten meme? I'm getting goosebumps, lol. A kitten game over. The perfect hero, Cha Do-young. Guess the writer had the conscience to add fierce there, huh? So this here is where the readers come in. So these are the readers, like, reading the story and commenting. Like, the way he's changing kitten to predator with a straight face is just hilarious. Lol. Do-young's not past the point of no return. Do-young's no match for him. When it comes to weight class, he has no choice but to bite. Lol. What's going on here? Winning is the priority. I can smell it. I can smell something delicious. A bunch of comments appeared in front of me. What? Fierce kitten predator? Huh? What are they talking about? Is it because of the biting? I couldn't understand what the comments were talking about. Anyways, it didn't really matter to me. Wow. Look at me. I bit him for real. Ugh. Hey, Do-young. It felt like I was getting rid of some emotional baggage. I put on a smile when Jihoon was raging, looking at the wound on his hand. Jihoon, he has overzealous parents. Things are going to get complicated. Are you gonna help him? I'm not so sure. That's kind of boring. What? Jungmin's eyes told me he was fed up. I ignored him and mumbled. I think that's not what he wants. I was curious how Do-young would get out of the situation. The whole school turned all topsy-turvy and I was at the center of it. Jihoon went to the hospital straight away and I was called to the teacher's room. My teacher let out a sigh and told me to go home. We decided to go through the particulars with Jihoon tomorrow. Well, I do look awful. My face was swollen, my hands and knees were hurt. Even my school uniform was covered in dirt. I was a total mess. Oh no. Aw. There was also Hyun. I was on my way back, walking past students that were swarming in to watch. At the end of the hallway, I could see Hyun standing in front of the student council room. Although I had braced myself earlier, my mind was reeling. What kind of facial expression was he making? I couldn't see him. What if he thinks I'm crazy? There was a possibility this would also affect Ohi's side of the story. Your brother's a total freak. I feel comfortable talking to you too. I really don't want Hyun to think like that. My body ached. I was worn out and exhausted. No, no more. Stop. I just wanted to stop thinking. Doyoung, what? Dohui, who was returning from school, looked at me with a worried look on her face. My swollen face, the footprints of my school uniform, the fact that I got beaten up was obvious. Who did this? Who on earth? I felt sorry, but I cut her off. I didn't want things to get complicated. I don't want her to get worried. Sorry, I made you worry, but I can handle this myself. By myself. Doi choked up. She tried to say something, but bit her lower lip instead. She looked upset. I placed my hand on her head carefully. She stayed calm as I comforted her. I patted her gently. Soon, you'll have nothing to worry about. What do you mean by that? I smiled quietly. At least, she's not trying to argue with me about it. Though, a day had passed. The school was still in an uproar due to yesterday's commotion. Everyone I ran into stared at me with surprise, dismay, and hate. There's no reason for me to feel intimidated. I should pop outside for a moment. You know what? I have nothing to fear. Their eyes are going to burn holes in my head. I tried to stay in my seat, but I started to feel restless. I can't help it anymore. Eventually I got up from my seat. I tried to avoid people's looks. I walked along the corners of the school building, but then an arm popped out from nowhere and grabbed me. What? Standing in front of me was someone I wasn't expecting to see. It was Dongwon, who looked anxious. What are you doing? You really are not close to Hyun. You're still obsessed with that? Then ask Sangwoo to help you.
뭐?
What? You're going to get in real trouble. Dongwon tried to persuade me and gave me an earnest look. You don't know what Jihoon's family's like. His mom was no joke. I heard his family flipped out yesterday. She's definitely going to come after you. She won't take it easy on you. Feeling dumbfounded, I stared at Dongwon. He took Sangwoo aside and bullied me. It's true Dongwon never hit me before, but that didn't make him any better than the rest. So what? You're saying I should ask Sangwoo for help? Yes, Jihoon listens to Sangwoo, so he'd really help me if I asked him to. Dongwon hesitated at first because of my sarcastic attitude, but nodded eventually. Yes.
뭐?
Huh? What? He would help you. Why would he? He'll just be excited to push me aside. No, it's not like that. I could tell Dongwon's words were loaded with meaning. I'm not Dohui. Dongwon's eyes opened wide, then he closed his mouth shut. Bet you're trying to guess how I knew that, right? You never know, but there's a piece of memory that's been cut off. I was about to leave after saying that. Dongwon grabbed my hand. What are you doing? Let me go! He closed his eyes. It's not Dohui! I tried to push his hand away, but then I stopped. With tears in his eyes, Dongwon repeated once more. It's not Dohui. What are you trying to tell me? It's you. It was ridiculous. Ridiculous enough to make me laugh out loud. What he was talking about was pure nonsense. I shrugged the arm Dongwon was grabbing free. Are you daydreaming or what? I'll pretend I didn't hear that. Do-young, I can take care of my own business. I'm not getting any help from Sang-woo. Dongwon's shoulders drooped down after my sharp words. But there's no way I was going to comfort him. His mom was literally hopping mad. Instead of greeting me, she slapped me on the cheek. That... Are you a dog or something? How dare you bite my son? Well, your son's... Well... I think I had to come back and I'm stuttering. Well... Like son, like mother. You're a big... No. Meanwhile, Jihoon was standing behind her with a bandage around his hand. The tuition here costs a fortune. Do you know what my husband is like? Huh? He's not gonna let this slide. It was like a trashy TV show. It would have been better if I wasn't the main character, though. Where are his parents? I demand to speak to his parents. I was looking forward to seeing their smug faces. Do-young's parents couldn't come here because they're abroad. Abroad, without parenting him properly. This is ridiculous. Although I didn't even know what Do-young's parents looked like, it didn't feel good listening to all those insults. I can't allow my son to go to school with that kind of brat. Expel him, right now. That's... No need to say anything else. She just looked at me one by one as if they were cornered by her stubborn attitude. Why are they looking at me like that? Are they trying to say I should get expelled? It was time to step up. I'm the one who got hit first. What? I got hit first. I got hit much more for a longer period of time. Jihoon crinkled his eyebrows as he spoke clearly. He looked at me sharply, but I wasn't planning to give in. What are you talking about? Just saying Jihoon hit you. That's nonsense. Jihoon, say something. Yeah, Jihoon, say something. What are you talking about? Why would I hit you, Do-young? Is that so? That's different from what I know. I pulled out a small object from my pocket. I clicked the button. Jihoon's voice broke the silence in the teacher's room. Look at how weak you are. It's no fun beating you up. It was obviously Jihoon's voice. Jihoon's face turned deadly pale. And after Jihoon's mom panicked. That's right, as you should. There's no proof that's my son's voice. Look at you. How dare you slander Jihoon? You want more? Without hesitation, I clicked the button once again. What made you act out like that? Jihoon, stop! The next voice recording included my moans of pain as well as Jihoon's name. Everyone was in panic, not knowing what to do. I took momentum and pulled out a pile of papers. I explained what happened, and when, without pausing for a breath, and finally, this is the medical certificate I got yesterday. I put the last page on the top of the pile. I scattered some pictures there too. They were pictures showing the bruises on my body. I could hear people gasp in dismay. Time to put all my cards on the table. We'll never know how far I can go. What does Jihoon's dad do for a living again? Are you sure you can handle this? Nobody dared to say a word. You piece of trash. You've been acting like a freak because of all this nonsense. Jihoon took unpredictable action. Everyone was surprised and tried to stop him, but it wasn't easy stopping him because he was strong and bulky. I don't know what you're talking about. I calmly spoke to Jihoon, who was grabbing me by the collar. You came to me to beat me up. I never asked you to hit me. I'm not into that. You little... Nonsense? It would have been nonsense if I was laying about getting hit. It's a fact. You hit me. Why call it nonsense? There was already loads of evidence. Jihoon gritted his teeth because he could neither confirm nor deny what I said. You're going to pay for this, Do-young. Jihoon raised his fist in the air. Jihoon? I spoke in a warm voice. It was the first time I smiled in front of Jihoon. Well, what? Jihoon's eyes were full of confusion. I leaned my face towards him and whispered in his ear. Let me go. Let me give you a piece of advice. You should really let me go. Guess you didn't know, but there are surveillance cameras here. Jihoon was shocked when I finished talking. It was nice to see him frightened like that. You don't want to get expelled, right, Jihoon? Are you really Do-young? And if I'm not? What? And if I'm not Do-young? Then who could I be? Everything was over. Jihoon's mom grabbed Jihoon, who was having a mental breakdown. Don't we have more to talk about? We could also discuss Jihoon's medical expenses. I didn't want to be in any debt to Jihoon. They refused strongly. It seemed like the only pride they had left. Well, there was nothing I could do. If they insisted on protecting that, I shrugged my shoulders and let them do as they pleased. Then what about this? I pointed my finger toward the pile of evidence on the table. What about this? With a forlorn look on her face, Jihoon's mom looked as if her pride had been hurt. She said she would have to talk about it with her lawyer. Involving lawyers was not going to make a difference. Even if we went to court, it didn't matter to me. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'd lose. Considering the fact I got slapped on my cheek as soon as I arrived, I was ready to fight like a dog. I won't be able to hide this from Uhhh any longer. She'll share my anger and try to help me as much as she can. Will I be able to tell her without breaking her heart? I was worried, but I knew things would work out somehow. Time to wrap up. I looked at my teacher and repeated what I told him before. I'm being bullied. I'm not joking, exaggerating, or misunderstanding stuff. I put down the pile of evidence on his desk. I brought evidence. You made the victim bring his own evidence. You're supposed to do something. He rubbed his face and sighed deeply while listening to my desperate words. If you want, I'll arrange a meeting where Jihoon can apologize. You know that's not what I'm talking about. Do-young, you'll make it difficult for the school if you act like this. How much more do I have to do? I didn't expect him to turn away from me with all the evidence in front of him. I was literally spoon-feeding him evidence. He was going too far. I mean, did I even have to open his mouth for him? Is this bothersome to him? Or is he afraid? Afraid of Jihoon's famous dad, the money he has, maybe his personal connections? Maybe he's close to people in positions of power, CEOs or chairmen. If that's not the case, are things supposed to be like this? Is it impossible for Do-young to escape his fate, even if I make a scene? My teacher started coaxing me as he realized the seriousness of the situation, and what he said right after was enough to make my stomach turn. I'll try to think of a way for you to get along with Jihoon. I was at a loss for words. Get along? What nonsense. Once two people become the perpetrator and the victim, there's no way for them to get along. Forcing the two to get along is also violence against the victim. I stormed out of the teacher's room and left the school building. I won't let it end like this. I should make a plan first. You know what? Plan. I should make a plan first. I calmly took a deep breath. Episode 3, The Art of Fighting. 1, finished.
지금 나가면 언제 또 올 수 있는데? 많이 서운해.
So, the characters, we got Do-young, Main, Hyun, Jinha, Sangwoo, Jihoon, Eunjae, Do-hee, Yeonho, Dongwon. So from what I understand, that Jihoon's mostly the perpetrator. Sangwoo is like there as a bully, but like if I use my ways, I can help. Dongwon's kind of neutral, but he's still a bully. And Yeonho, I don't think I've met. So far, I really like Jinha. Jinha is like golden retriever energy. Hyun is like black cat energy, and that's not. I feel like I'm a toy to him. Jinha is like, he wants to keep me safe. Like that's already good flags right there. If I'm being honest. But that's the end of episode 3. Oh,
무슨 생각을 했냐고?
how is love going?
당연히 네 생각이지.
Hmm. I honestly like doing this thing in like episode increments. It's been really nice so far. Alright, well, that'll be it for today's episode. You'll see me tomorrow when I play with games with Chaos, and I'll probably play a different game and stream that. I'm not sure if I'll play King of the Castle. I really do want to play that again at some point, and I hope to. I just need to find a time and day for it. But this is where I'll end for today. Thank you, Emma made. I keep saying this so weird. Do I say Emma made this or M made this? But thank you, Emma and the Burrito Supreme, for being around today, and also for following. I appreciate it. Every bit helps as we work to our goals. I guess I should probably update. I haven't said anything about it, but if I reach halfway to my milestone goal of what I want for this year, yeah, of course. I mean, I appreciate when you come by, and it's always nice to chat with you, and I hope like my content's entertaining enough at times. But if I reach halfway for 500, I'm going to do a reaction to my old videos, and I've been cringing about it. and I'll reach 1,000 or someone reach 100,000 channel points for the stream, we're doing a hot sauce adventure challenge. That'll be fun. But other than that, for those of you who see this on YouTube, thanks for watching. And if you want to see me live, feel free to come here. I'll always be around, and I'm always willing to tell you what's going on. But other than that, DjDoubleT out and about, and deuces. Have a good time zone.